What's up, guys? It's Matt with MLB Marathon coming at you guys with another video, and one so much more pleasing to talk about than the cheating Astros and sign stealing scandals. We get to touch on the 2020 Hall of Fame class and what the ballot looks like, and kind of give you guys an idea of what our ballots look like if we had the vote. We don't, but if we did, this is what we would have to look at. Now, yesterday, myself, Matt Ehrhardt, Noah Yeckley, and Brendan Wilhoite all had a roundtable on the podcast, which you can find on Apple, Spotify, Google Music, and more. We touched on what our ballots would be if we did vote, and we kind of want to share those with you guys here today. So to start, I'm going to show my ballot, which will be right here. I voted for 10 players. My 10 players are Barry Bonds, Roger Clemens, Derek Jeter, Andrew Jones, Jeff Kent, Curt Schilling, Gary Sheffield, Omar Vizquel, Billy Wagner, and Larry Walker. Larry Walker, I definitely want to vote for. He was his last year on the ballot, and he's by far a Hall of Famer. I think he gets in this year. I really hope that he's in. I don't want to leave votes. I'm not one of those voters who just votes Derek Jeter and leaves 9 other people without a chance to take my vote. I'm not going to just vote for one player. I wanted to vote for all 10, and so that's what I did. You'll see later on, some of our opinions differed, but I kind of didn't really worry about the steroid. I kind of felt like most of these guys on this ballot, that was the era, that was the time, and I didn't really want to crucify them for that. Roger Clemens and Barry Bonds, whether they're steroids or not, they need to be etched in the Hall of Fame, and that's why they got my vote. But moving on, I wanted to show you guys Noah Yeckley's ballot, who voted for half the players I did, only 5. 5 votes, and he had a very interesting perspective. His ballot reads, as you can see, Derek Jeter, Scott Rowland, Curt Schilling, Gary Sheffield, and Larry Walker. Now, my ballot has a couple of guys that aren't even close to being Hall of Famers this year, but have the chance in the coming years. Noah kind of focused more on who could be a Hall of Famer now or within a year or two, and he kind of voted for the guys he sees going in as soon as possible. Derek Jeter, Scott Rowland, Schilling, Sheffield, and Walker, all great picks. The only one controversial here is Gary Sheffield with the steroids, but like me, I'm not going to really hold anyone accountable for that, not to the extent that some people would to leave them out of the Hall of Fame. So I really like Noah's ballot. It can be controversial, though, because he only chose 5 players, where most people are choosing a lot more. But that's his ballot. I respect it. Let's move on. Brandon Wilhoite, who is our guru, our analytic guy, he kind of went with a whole different perspective. We're going to show you his ballot here. He does not have Derek Jeter on his Hall of Fame ballot. You might think he's crazy, but let's kind of understand where he's coming from. His ballot states Bobby Abreu, Barry Bonds, Todd Helton, Manny Ramirez, Scott Rowland, Curt Schilling, Gary Sheffield, Billy Wagner, and Larry Walker. Now, we kind of touched with Brandon is, what is your perspective? How heavily do you rely on analytics to give yourself a ballot? And does the way the voting is done, does that weigh in on who you're choosing? And that's probably why you don't see Derek Jeter on this ballot. Brandon also told us that the standard of writers in the BBWA and how they hold guys to the standard versus the Veterans Committee, there's some people that have made the Hall of Fame via the Veterans Committee that don't even have half the careers of some of these guys on this Hall of Fame ballot today. Larry Walker, for example, if he doesn't get in, he falls off this ballot. But someone that made it in through the Veterans Committee is going to get in, and they don't even... It's like Larry Walker is hot and cold. It's completely different. Larry Walker had a much better career, but he's not going to get in because of the standard that each committee sets. You kind of have to ask yourself, what does the Hall of Fame see? Kind of stop differentiating and making separate committees and having separate standards. We all need to be on the same playing page, and we've kind of seen a flaw in the voting. So Brandon, he left off Jeter because he knew it was a given. He knew Jeter was getting in, and he wanted to vote for guys like Helton and Ramirez, Abreu, Rowland, who he feels like need that extra vote to keep them on this ballot and to give them a shot to earn the Hall of Fame inductee later on as their ballots, as the years continue. Our last person, we're going to show his ballot here now. Matt Ehrhardt. He went with 8 players on his ballot. His reads: Barry Bonds, Roger Clemens, Derek Jeter, Jeff Kent, Kurt Schilling, Omar Vizquel, Billy Wagner, and Larry Walker. Kind of similar to mine. He also only voted for 8. So I was the only person that used all 10 of my votes. I just felt like there was so many good guys on this list. I didn't know. It was kind of hard, to be honest. But I understand everyone's perspective and how they're voting. And I really thought that, we all had a pretty solid ballot. I kind of scratched my head for a second. I could be an anti-Yankee, a biased Yankees fan. And when I seen Brandon not have Jeter on his ballot, kind of took a step back, like, what's happening? But I totally get it. The way he's voting is based on, how this whole thing is running. And our guys are going to fall off the ballot when Jeter's guaranteed to get in. I think that's important, and that's something that I really never looked at. So taking his perspective on it, I love it. But that's going to wrap it up for us here today at MLB Marathon. Congratulations to those who did make the Hall of Fame. We're excited for the season to start, and this is a great way to kind of kick off 2020. So thank you guys for watching this video. Stay tuned for more. Give this video a like at MLB Marathon on all socials, and we'll see you guys later.